T-Baw's Left Eye and Chili. TLC's Unpretty. A Magic in the Morning, 8:36. Tuesday morning, folks. For those of you that had the long weekend, try to get your mind back to it here. You can look at it Monday if you want. Mike Barrett in, as we mentioned, with good policies for this, the day after the celebration of Independence Day in the studio. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. We try not to talk.
It's all relative, sir. It's all relative, right?
Yeah, it is. How was your 4th?
It was good. It was relatively uneventful. Just laid back. It was kind of, don't forget, I was on vacation not long ago, so I had a lot of lawn mowing and upkeep to do and things and projects, but we did take some time to have a barbecue, so it was nice.
That's good. That's good. All right. So good policies, the insurance agency. Insurance policies, one of the many things in life that I don't know squat about, but I know more now because of our weekly chats.
Sure.
There's a term we hear in insurance, and I think it's also in other things as well, escrow. And
escrow.
This is something, sir, I'm clueless on. Help us out.
Sure. So escrow is a banking term more than anything. It's an account where money is funneled in, and that money is funneled in for a number of reasons. It's either going to be applied for, it can be applied for even as you're maybe doing a loan and you have some improvements you need to do to the property for the loan. But most times in my world, escrow is going to be the account that money is getting funneled into when you're making your mortgage payments that go to an account that then at the end of your, at the renewal of your homeowner's insurance policy is going to pay the full annual premium. And the reason I think escrow is important to bring up is especially now, the market's still very hot. People are buying homes. And it can vary as to whether a bank is going to require you to escrow or not. And it's, of course, in the bank's best interest for you to escrow because then you're paying every month and they know that your insurance will stay intact because they want to make sure that property that they have a mortgage on for you is properly protected. But the confusion lies usually in the beginning stages of getting your mortgage for the first time, or maybe not the first time, but a mortgage for a purchase of a property. The question being, does the bank want you to escrow? And if yes, well, then what's the question? What's the requirement? Do they require you to pay the full first premium in, ahead of the closing, or do we just invoice at closing? Believe it or not, Jeff, that could be a pretty confusing part of the process that we always try to walk people through. So.
Already is. All right. So how does somebody get the process started?
So it's very simple. I mean, when you're going through and getting your mortgage, just ask your lender, will this be something, will my insurance and my taxes will probably be the same too, but will my insurance be escrowed? And if so, will you require that we pay the full premium upfront prior to the closing date on our mortgage? Or should I just have my insurance company invoice and have the money dispersed at closing? There's your two options. And it's as simple as that. I mean, it sounds a lot harder than it is. It's really that simple. But it's not always guaranteed that the bank's going to pay either, because, at renewal time, sometimes I have clients that go, my policy's going to be canceled for non-payment. My bank pays that. What's going on? And I'll look, and sometimes it might slip through the cracks. So sometimes you still have to kind of interject and get in there and make sure it gets paid. But it's definitely a big part of the homeowner process for those getting a mortgage. So.
Is it a commonality, like especially in the times we're in now, post-COVID or during COVID, that a bank may be understaffed and it may be delayed? Is that something that happens occasionally?
I think any number of reasons. I think that could be one of them as well. There's a million and one reasons why, but it's a big part of the process. So if you have any questions about escrow, I find it interesting that usually we're the ones that have to educate the consumer, which is awesome because that's what we're there for, about the escrow that they're probably going to have to complete with their lender. So it's about having that discussion and being prepared, because let's say that you're out getting homeowner quotes and all of a sudden you're finding out that you have a $900 a year policy is the best quote you got. It's the one you want to go with. And then getting closer to you buying the home, you find out, oh man, I got to pay for that all now. I can't break it up into installments.
Right.
So it can sometimes be a shock for people. So being prepared ahead of time is really beneficial.
Now, remember going into this, I said I know nothing about this, right? So, and I'm pretty certain there are listeners out there in the same position, but how often, how frequently is it required?
I don't have an exact metric, but if I was to say for every 10 new purchases, I'd say 7 or 8 of them are escrow. So there's different, some people are adamant that they don't want escrow and they will push that and make sure that they don't have that requirement at closing. Not everybody gets it. So I know that mine's escrowed. I'm actually okay with it because it's one less thing for me to think about. But some people don't like the idea of having the bank have to pay their renewal. They want to pay it themselves and have their own control.
So I can understand it, and folks out there can understand it too. So it is a monthly premium that is paid up and then applied in full for the following year.
Yeah, so every month you get your statement from your bank for your mortgage payment. You look at what you're paying for, principal and for interest, and then you'll see an escrow amount that's getting applied too. So for that X number of dollars you're paying a month for your mortgage, a portion of that's getting tossed into that escrow account so that there are funds there to pay your taxes and insurance when the renewals and the bills are due.
Okay, well now it makes a good bit more sense to me.
And sometimes, on occasion, you get
a curve.
No, not a curve. Sometimes you get a little cherry on top. Sometimes because they can only have so much extra in that escrow account. So the example being is 2 weeks ago, I got a check saying, here's your money back because there was too much money in our escrow account. So they had to give us a little bit of a refund. It wasn't much, but I'll tell you, it'll buy more than a numbered meal. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, no, that's good. But of course, any budget-wise person would say, all right, we'll hold on to that till whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we may need it for.
The last thought I'll give you, though, is with escrow, a lot of people think that they're tied into their insurance policy when they're escrow, and that is not the case. Let's say your policy renewed in December and you found a better policy now. And you just go, well, my bank paid the entire premium back in December when I renewed, so I guess I'm locked in until next December. No, you are not. You can go with the new policy. The new company will invoice your bank. The old company, when they cancel the policy, will send a refund. That refund will go to you, and it's about you having a discussion with your bank as to whether you keep that money or throw it back at your escrow account if you want to. It's all about just being prepared for that. But that is available. You're never locked in. Some people sometimes feel they are.
No, that's good. That's good. And since you mentioned having a discussion with the bank about it, it's also important to keep a constant dialogue, a discussion going with your insurance agent.
So that's what we're there for.
How can folks have that conversation with you?
Sure. Give us a call, 748-5224. You can visit us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. All Barrett Insurance Agency. And my truck alarm's going off. Do you hear that? Charlie's moving.
Yep. Mike, thanks for coming in this week. Glad you enjoyed your vacation and your Independence Day. We'll do it next week.
Awesome. Be well.
Oh, definitely. Coming up, music